Howdy, folks. It is Diecast Buffet here again. Oh boy. It is time for another episode of NASCAR 6. We're going to be heading out to Kansas Speedway, and this is going to be an interesting event, guys. Check this out. We struggle at Kansas. The points championship it's not over. 134 points is not a lot. When you think about if I have a DNF and Edwards wins, it's a 150 point swing. It is not over. We just know a Roush driver is going to win the championship. Let's just call it what it is. So, if we go to Kansas and we get into a oopsie-doo, it's going to shake everything up for the championship. And with, 5 races after this, anything goes in the NASCAR Busch Series. Greg Biffle's going to win the Cup race at Kansas, so you know we got to go win it. I know the races are they're offset. Sometimes the Cup races before, sometimes after X, Y, and Z. I think it's mostly before, but that's just the way the game works. In terms of immersion, Biffle would race after us, but, hey, to me, I'll take a little bit of a wonky jaw schedule than having what we have in NASCAR Ignition 21, which is not even a game. Alrighty, folks, here we go from Kansas. So we missed qualifying pretty much. 11th place. I botched 1 and 2, so it's going to happen. I went ahead and went to the default setup compared to what we have because it felt like the RPMs are going to redline and eventually blow up during the race. So I decided, hey, let's just run the default setup. We'll go from there. I don't know what to expect because if I go and run 20 or 10 laps or something in practice, that doesn't mean it's going to mean anything in race trim because you have to lift and run certain lines during the race. I don't know where that limit is. So, in my honest opinion, I'd rather run one race here, and if we come back next year in the Busch Series, we'll be able to adjust on that. But I don't know if to make the car looser or tighter. A car race is completely different in the pack with drafting and stuff because the air in this game actually affects your car. If you have a draft, it makes you a little faster. It makes you feel a little tighter. If a car's behind you, it can loosen you up. I've had that happen because it makes you faster, so it makes you slip easier. Like right now, 3 wide. If I was a loose car right now, I would be in the catch fence. That's why you gotta be careful. Just because your car looks good in practice doesn't mean it's gonna race well. Carl Edwards out front. 6 races to go in the Busch Series season. Roush has won 19 races this year. It's a 33 race season, guys. Think about that. 19 races we have won as a team. That is incredible. 5 for Edwards, 5 for Kenseth, and then we won 9 ourselves. Ironically, in the 9 car, which is pretty cool. Oh man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how dominant this team has been. Edwards looking for another win. He's just really been on fire as of late. This track it's given us fits in the Busch Series in the past, but I think it's actually running pretty good right now. My goal is just a top 10. This track race is a lot like Chicagoland Speedway, so if you struggle at one of them, you're probably going to struggle at both of them. And Chicago is not a track that I don't think we're capable of winning just yet, but it's not like an anchor weight that just, you're just going to sandbag and just struggle the entire event. But I would say our odds of winning Texas are probably like 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3. And our odds of winning at Kansas are like 1 out of 15. That if I had to, just put a random entertainment, odds, so to speak. That's what it would be like. We're just inside the top 10, though, here. We have, whoa, right there. You see how the car got loose off the corner? I think that car behind us was pushing us, and that made this car get more sideways. That was crazy. See, right there, the arrow push. They push you in the back of your car. It makes you go a little faster, and your car's already sliding. So what does it do? It expedites it. Naturally, you have to have a car that's loose already, which we have. We're going to probably have to tighten the car up or something. There we go. We're still in the top 10. Edwards steady out front. Kenseth right there in second. I expect us to lose points to Edwards in this race. The goal is to survive it, though. Top 10 is really our goal. Man, I cannot wait for this pit stop. We got to get some new tires on this car. This thing is like, it is about to start doing four-wheel sliding. So I'm having to not be aggressive here on the racetrack. Right, I'm having to borderline turn right on the D-pad, guys. I'm turning right on the D-pad. That's how bad this car is, yo. I got to tighten this car up. There ain't no way we're going to be able to make a hard charge to the end of this race. Do we have enough gas? We better. I'm pitting. I cannot. I just can't run this car like that. No damage repair. We're going to tighten the car up. We're going to have to push this car an extra lap on tires, so I think it's a good move to tighten the car up so it'll be better in the long run. And plus, it might actually make the tires last longer because it's not going to be sliding as much. Now, naturally, we're going to have to give up a little bit of speed entering the corner, but that stability might be able to give us better launch off the corner. Who knows, right? If there was a thing such as a perfect race car, well, someone would find it. And 16.9 second pit stop, not great. We're gonna lose a little bit of time here, but hey, I couldn't do anything with that car there, guys. Barely holding on to it. So let's go ahead and get on the pavement. We should have enough gas. If we don't, well, some days you're the bat, some days you're the ball. Tony Raines in the 33 car, making his obscure Busch Series start. Now let's see how tight this car really is. This car, I don't know. Hopefully it ain't too bad. Shane DeMille's going to take the lead here. He's going to run around the track. Hopefully no cautions brew. If a caution brews, they're really screwed, that's for sure. Probably should have made an air pressure adjustment. And like I said, we ran the default setup because I didn't know what direction to go in. You see, that's why I wanted to do that. Because if I would have loosened the car up, guys, the car would have been out of control in lap 4 compared to lap 7. That's why sometimes it's better to go to the default setup, run a race in it, get a feel for how the car needs to be in traffic, and then the next time you race there, make your adjustment. Because you can't simulate that in practice. You know, racing 1 or 2 cars is different compared to running, 20 cars 2 rows deep borderline. We're 13th now, so I mean, we're just outside the top 10. And I think the car is going to be, we can push it harder at the end of the race, which is what we're looking for. I just want to get that top 10 and get out of freaking Kansas. I like this track. Don't get me wrong. I like this track, but man, it is a challenge. And I like a good challenge, too. That's another thing. I like a challenge. I don't want it to be a cakewalk. Too many of these YouTube NASCAR playthroughs, they win every race, and the races are so bland. I mean, no disrespect. I love the other YouTubers out there, but they win the race by 30 car lengths, it seems, every time that they cut 90% of the race out to fill the episode. I mean, some people might like that. I just can't get into that. I just can't. I got to see one cat drive the whole race and not dominate. That's why in my Thunder 04 career mode, we only upgrade the car to a certain point where it's competitive to win, but it doesn't win everywhere. And that's what we did, and that's why we stopped upgrading it. The same concept applies in this game. I don't want it to be a cakewalk. I want a challenge, and that's what I like about it. These NASCAR games are not perfect. Sometimes you have to add a little challenge. Sometimes maybe, I don't know, don't make the setup extremely OP, right? You want a good challenge. Let's just keep it honest, right? You want a challenge. You want to make it fun. You want to make it a good product. And that's why I love these old school NASCAR games, because any player, no matter your skill level, you can adapt to it. And when I see like these other NASCAR playthroughs, guys, it's just, I don't know, man. It seems like they win every single race, and there's no substance, there's no role play, there's nothing to it. It's just show up, win the race, move on to the next one, win the championship, into the playthrough. I just personally can't get into those playthroughs. Filling some airtime here. Carl Edwards out front. And is this Tony Stewart? No, it's L Trigger. I don't know who that is, but we're in the top 10. I mean, the adjustment. Let me tell you, man, that wedge adjustment was the best thing this car could ever have. Because, one, it's not four-wheel sliding with two to go. You can definitely tell it's loose, but it's not nowhere near as bad. Nowhere near as bad. And the car has stability in it. That way I can be more aggressive off the corner and entering the corner, plus navigating traffic. So going forward, if I can make a mental note about that for our next Kansas race, holy Shania Twain, that could have been bad. We almost just lost the car there. If I can make a mental note, let's tighten the car up just a smidge. We're close on fuel. I'm going to just save a little gas here. Come on, save a little bit. Because we don't want to run out in a bad spot. Gun it. I don't know why I was trying to save gas there, because it doesn't really matter. Look, I don't want to damage her car. I don't want to damage my car, but dang it, we couldn't get the nose out there. I could have door slammed her. I didn't want to. I don't need any rivals right now. Edwards is going to win. This is literally what I was what I was talking about early in the episode. I expect Edwards to run really good. Sure enough, he dominates the whole race. And let's see how much points he actually gains. He gets a maximum points day opportunity, so that's 190 points. We don't lead anything, right? So he's going to go out there and get, what, 54 points, give or take? I'm just saying, man, the points lead is down to double digits. It was 3 digits, so interesting stuff. Definitely a great adjustment to the car, though. Thank you, Lord, for that, because we did not have the stability to run coming to the pit stop. Kyle Busch, that is surprising. 32nd. This guy is known to dominate Busch races. He qualified like crap. He raced like crap. I don't know what they were doing, but they certainly weren't winning. Roush wins their 20th race of the year. It's a 33 race season. Wow. Alrighty, folks, so that's it for today's episode. Next one, I think, is actually Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is such a fun Busch track, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then the final road course race of the year. I said it was a 33 race season. It's 35. I'm kind of stupid there, guys, so ignore that. And also, I want to touch on that point I made during the race about, like, you don't want to make your setups OP and stuff. It also goes for the racetracks, and I want to touch on this briefly. I love roleplay. I love immersion, right? If there's like a road course or something, and I know I can cut a corner and gain 0.5 of a second every lap, I'm not going to do that, right? If I know that there's a racetrack in the game that, like, if it's Daytona, Talladega, and if I configure the gear ratios a certain way, I can lap the whole field. I'm not going to do that. It's not realistic, and here's why it makes sense from an immersion standpoint. Here's your updated point standings, by the way. If you show up to a racetrack and you're 4/10 faster than the entire field every single lap, wouldn't you think NASCAR would be like, hey, what you got underneath that car, right? So that's kind of how I see it with the setups in this game, or any NASCAR game, really, is that if you are so dominant, NASCAR themselves as a sanctioning body, because it's a business, would slow you down a little bit. They'd say, hey, we're going to change that. We're going to make a rule for that or something. And that's why I like these NASCAR games, because if you get so far out in front, you can adjust it a little bit back to make it more realistic, which it is. It is realistic. That's exactly what they would do. I mean, you don't think how many rules were made based on Jeff Gordon's dominance in the 90s and Jimmy Johnson's dominance in the late 2000s? You don't think they wrote rules for that? Trust me, they did. And that's what I love about these NASCAR games, is you can adjust it to make it fit your driving style, and it gives you a great challenge. It's a great product, and it's fun. I love it. I really do. So you got 78,000 points from level 8 prestige. When are we going to get a Nextel Cup Series contract, guys? I mean, I have no idea. I wish I could see how much Roush Racing is worth, because we have won 20 Busch races this year. 20! That is like redonkulous, by the way. I know their Cup Series program is pretty darn good. $20 million, give or take. How is Hendrick worth less than Roush? That shows you how big Roush was in the 2000s. It's incredible. That is just incredible. How is Robert Yates Racing worth more than? Well, this was still after their Dale Jarrett's, skyrocketing from the late '90s. They were still pretty hot. Wood Brothers being worth more than Ganassi and Evernham? I know they weren't winning every race, but wow, that's crazy. I think it's so cool that Michael Waltrip Racing's in this game. I've always wanted to buy MWR in this game. It'd be really cool, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. Have a blessed one, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe. Diecast Buffet signing off.